Welcome back to the channel, everyone. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to install PS5 game backups to your jailbroken PlayStation 5 using Itemzflow. If you're someone new who finally acquired a jailbroken PlayStation 5 and you're not too sure on how to install PS5 backup games to your console, this video will show you step by step on how it should be done. I'm also going to be covering how to install PS4 fake package games to your jailbroken console as well. Let's go over on how to install fake package PS4 games to our jailbroken PlayStation 5. The first thing you want to do is go to settings, and from settings we want to scroll to the very bottom until we see our debug settings, and from here we're going to click inside and you should see a package installer. This is what you're always going to use to install fake package PS4 games to your jailbroken PlayStation 5. As you guys can see in the background, I'm going to click in package installer and I'm going to install a fake package PS4 game to my console. When it comes to installing fake package PS4 games, depending on the size of the game, like 20 or 50 gigs, it can take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to install to your jailbroken PlayStation 5. Since this game is 1 gig, it doesn't take long for it to install, and as you guys can see, it's ready for me to play and it's on my XMB screen. Now that we covered how to install fake package PS4 games to our jailbroken console, let's go over on how to install PS5 backup games to our console. First thing you want to do is plug in your USB or your SSD to your console, and then at that point we want to launch Itemzflow. As you guys can see in the background, I'm going to launch mine on my console, and we're going to wait for it to load and simply press OK here, and you should be on the home screen of Itemzflow, and you should see in the top left hand corner your USB or SSD being detected. And as you can see, mine's good to go. And at that point, we want to go over to PS5 app. We're going to click on that and you should see a couple of options available to you. As you guys can see in the background, I'm going to press X. Here you got launch, change app path, copy app folder, override title ID, and scan for app. Now at this point, what we are going to do is select change app path. And once we click on it, we should see 2 sides of the screen, one on the left, one on the right. Just a friendly reminder, if you press L1 on your controller, it's for the left hand side of the screen. If you press R1 on your controller, for the right hand side of the screen. If you press either or, there's no indication what side of the screen you're on. You just need to know that if you press R1 and you're on the right, you press L1 and you're on the left. Everything on the left hand side of the screen where it says 23 items, you do not have to use or touch. We're simply going to be working only on the right hand side of the screen. Where it says mount USB 0, what we want to do is press circle to go back. And you should see a screen that says mount only. At that point, what we want to do is locate our SSD or a USB and go and look for the game and simply press square. So as you guys can see in the background, I'm going to press circle to go back, and then at that point I'm going to look for the correct USB tab that has my SSD location. For me, my SSD is plugged into my front of my console and mine is normally USB 1. There are 7 options as far as USB is concerned, and as you guys can see in the background, I'm going to scroll through it. You need to locate yours depending on where you put your USB or SSD on your console. Once you find it, you'll know that that's always the location for you when you plug it in certain locations on your console. Like I said, mine is in the front, so mine is USB 1. And at that point, I'm going to click inside of USB 1, game folder, one for PS4, one for PlayStation 5. And then inside of that, we'll have the actual game folder itself. Depending on the game that I'm installing, I'm going to click inside that game and go to the game app folder and highlight it and simply just press square. And it should take me back to the Itemzflow main screen. And then at that point, I'm now going to go and copy over the game folder to my hard drive of my PlayStation 5. As you can see, I'm already highlighting the game. I simply press square and that's it. Now after using the change app path, as you guys can see in the background, it now tells you the game that I'm copying over to my hard drive. At this point, what we want to do is now use the copy app folder, and at this point I'm going to simply press X to go inside, and the screen that we saw before when we went into change app path is the same, but this time around we are only going to use the left hand side of the screen. As you guys can see in the background, I'm going to select my data tab, and then from here, this is where I'm going to put the game on my hard drive, and I'm simply just going to press square at this point, and it's going to start to copy the game over to my hard drive. Now at this point, depending on the size of the game, you may not see any progress fill up on your bar. Because my game is only 1 gig, it's gonna fill up real quick. If a game is roughly like 20 gigs or 50 gigs, you won't see any progress on the bar till it copies about 90% of the game. At that point, once you hit 90%, you will see a progress bar just shoot up to 90%, and then it will fill up from there. And then at that point, once it hits 100, then the game is done. At this point, what we simply want to do is press X on the controller, and then after that, it should take us back to the Itemzflow screen where it says launch, change app path, copy app folder, and at that point, all we need to do is press launch. We are going to start the game to make sure it's working properly, and we're also going to install the app to our XMB screen so that at a later time, if we decide to come back and want to play that game, everything is working properly. So as you guys can see in the background, I'm testing mine out. I launched it and it should work perfectly fine. No issues, no problem. The game started, and from here I'm just gonna let it run for a couple of seconds, and then I'm actually going to close the game. At that point, I should be on the XMB screen of my PlayStation 5, and the actual app should be installed, and I'm good to go. What I can simply do is unplug my SSD or my USB from my console, relaunch the game one more time just to test out everything is working properly, and it should, and you're good to go. From here, you now know how to install PS5 backup games as well as PS4 fake package game to the hard drive of your jailbroken PlayStation 5. That is pretty much it for this video, guys. I thank you guys for watching my video, supporting my channel. I am going to put out another guide shortly, just in case if you run into issues where you are copying your PS5 backup games to your console and it's not working properly. You guys know how to fix it. But as always, get up with you guys later, and peace.